So here we are, game number 2 of this best of 3. It's the IEM Toronto qualifier, and spawning down in the lower left hand position, representing ESC, it is the green Protoss player JackO. And up to the top right, his opponent, representing Millennium, the purple Terran, none other than DieStar. DieStar is currently 1-0 up in this best of 3. And, well, 1-0 up in a best of 3 is a good spot to be. You've got a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of a chance to say, well, game number 2, worst case scenario for me, it just goes to game number 3. And I'm quite cool with that because odds are I'll win it, statistically speaking. For JackO, the pressure's really mounted. He has to win here to stay in this qualifier. It is single elimination. And nobody wants to go out in the first round. But half of the people will. Actually, that's a lie. Not half will. Because quite a few players got buys in the first round. Because it didn't actually fill the bracket all the way to the round of 64. So, I guess that's an important thing to sit there with. Now, probe coming on forward. Going to go on a little bit of a scouting adventure. No, this is a gateway first. So no danger of any cannon rushes or anything along those lines, just instead the probe coming out to scout, checking his opponents not down in the bottom right by nuclear site 31. I don't know why all of the bases are numbered. They are. Where do they actually start? Wait, that numbering makes no sense. 31, 32, 43, 6. This just leaves so many questions for me. Why are they numbered so randomly? Are they all run? No. Wait, is that another 6? That is. Why are there 2 6s? It's a conspiracy. Is this a 6? That's a 6. Is this a 6? It's a 6. Why are they all 6s? What does it mean? Okay, I don't know what it means. It's probably just someone copied all the bases across. Are they all 32? Yeah, they are. So someone just designed one side and then used rotational symmetry to make sure it was equal all the way across. That's why it happened. Anyway, probe just being a little bit annoying here, trying to stop this command center from coming down. It was a CC first from DieStar, so very safe, very normal opening. It has been scouted, of course, by the Protoss player, so JackO knows what's coming his way, or more importantly, knows what isn't coming his way, and that's anything for a while. Not going to be any kind of aggression coming out of a CC first. It just isn't possible. Unless, of course, the CC decided to load up 5 SCVs, float across the map, land, and become a planetary fortress, which sounds silly, but I've seen it done. It didn't work, but I've seen it. I have totally seen it. I think I may have even actually played against that once, where someone genuinely tried to planetary fortress rush me. It was a strange experience. You know when you just sit there and you think, maybe I should just let them win, because this was a ballsy move. Very, very ballsy. Anyway, as we've got coming down here, JackO, he's got his natural base coming up. 2 gases sitting nice and happy. Meanwhile, over at the Terran side of the map, we have got a supply depot as well as a 3rd rack. So he's going to be pumping out those Marines, making sure that he's good and safe against anything that could be trundling up this ramp. Say a Zealot and a Stalker and a Mothership Core. The Mothership Core wouldn't come up the ramp, of course, it just float above, ominously, waiting to use some kind of incredible ability that many people would deem overpowered. But no, Mothership Core not on its way over. Marines just checking around, making sure nothing sneaky is going on. Specifically proxy Stargates, because if you put a Stargate here, for example, the natural base is there. That is not very far, as you can see. And that would be bad times. So just checking to make sure there isn't anything like that coming through. Of course, we know, thanks to the great gift of vision of the entire map, that JackO is just getting down a robotics facility. So he isn't going crazy, not doing anything too out of the ordinary, playing a very similar build to game number 1 actually. By very similar, I mean identical. It is the same build. Precisely. No, actually it's not. I take that back. There was a forge before the robotics facility in game number 1. So, not quite the same. At least I think it was. Either way, possibly the same build, possibly a little bit different. What we do know, though, is JackO's getting our sentry. That's going to help him fortify this front position, make sure he's nice and safe from any poking or any prodding. Worth noting that there is this nice little area up here. And with this area up here, it could always be a good little spot to hide some stuff out of the photon overcharge range. So may see DieStar go for that. That's why the Mothership Core just chilling up here, making sure that no sneaky stuff comes on through. Really like the shout out from one of my subscribers, P572. Maybe the radiation numbers show radiation intensity. That is a good theory. I'm going to go with that because now it won't bother me anymore. So thank you very much for that, P572. And also thank you for subscribing to my Twitch channel. Your support really makes esports possible. Anyway, we got a couple of sentries here, just busy force fielding off this ramp. Couple of Marines go ahead of the crowd. Never be a trendsetter unless you're going to kill some sentries. Then totally do it. It's worth your death. Only one sentry goes down. One stalker takes a bit of damage. But hey, that was a couple of Marines for some gas, which is actually alright. That is the sort of trade which people will be happy with. Now, Marines, they're on their way back. They're escaping and gallivanting past the watchtower, which is really awkward to get to. You've got to go through these tiny little paths around these scary fans of death. There is no meshing over that. Health and safety would throw a complete fit. Now, a couple of additional barracks, they're coming through. We've got the starport nearly finished up, so medevac production is on its way. There's also a third, and third bases are good, as we saw DieStar demonstrate in game number 1. Also, though, JackO, he's demonstrating that double upgrades are something that he is a big fan of, getting in yet again. So really consistently staying upon this, making sure that he's keeping check of those double upgrades. Didn't really work in game number 1, and it would have done just a bit later because he would have got 3-3 exceptionally earlier than DieStar. Unfortunately, DieStar got 2-2 when 3-3 was about 30 seconds away for JackO, and that's when DieStar decided to attack him. So having 2-2 and 99.9% of 3-3 is exactly the same as just having 2-2 in terms of how the fight's going to go. So for JackO, he just needs to hold off a bit longer if he wants to be going for the real late game, the double upgrades, the big Colossus count, and hoping that will work for him. But with the third already floating down for DieStar, he does have to be cautious that his opponent isn't able to just overrun him with sheer numbers, thanks to the better economy. Twilight Council on its way through. That's going to allow 2-2 to start pretty pronto off the back of 1-1 finishing. And I've got to give huge props to JackO. These chrono boosts have been relentless. These little forges are whirring away so quickly. I hope he's got some aftermarket cooling on those because they are going to get very, very hot very quickly. Now, DieStar. He has 2 medevacs. 2 medevacs, everyone knows, means that aggression is incoming. But what can defend it? There's 5 stalkers. They're chilling around the natural base where the attempted drop is suspected, but not into the main. The main where the Colossus are waiting. The main where the Zealots are prepared. That is where the drop could be coming. Or not. Or I could just chill here. Just take a nice look at the view. Be like, ah, there's some good satellites down there. I wonder how they're staying there. They have seemingly no means of thrust, but they're just chilling. That's what DieStar's looking at. DieStar then suddenly notices the fact that a third base is getting taken and Colossus are there. Is he going to try and force the cancel? Because JackO's pulling back. A big stim in means boom, down it goes. 400 minerals are wasted, and that is a very happy Terran player. JackO just kind of walking back and forth, just being like, wait, what? I'm sure we just saw some infantry. My base is dead. Was it just that one Marine? It probably wasn't just that one Marine. Double drop also trying to come into the natural base, but photon cannon and 5 stalkers, yeah, that's enough to stop drops very efficiently, so no big concern there. Meanwhile, if we check up here for DieStar, he is just busy macroing up. Macroing up like a bit of a beast. Happily going about his normal process, making sure everything is going smooth and steady. And this pressure is just 100% being applied to make sure that it's completely safe with everything else that is going on. Making sure that, hey, if I'm taking a third, am I getting counterattack? Well, of course, no. I won't get attacked by that because obviously I'm keeping pressure on. If he moves out, I'm going to kill him. And that is exactly why we saw in game number 2 the problem, or game number 1 the problem come. Because JackO moved out just to a watchtower. DieStar moved in, killed a third base. And that was really the problem. DieStar is just doing a fantastic job of expansion management. Back at home, he's adding in just tons of Vikings. Note this missile turret as well, they're all clumped up about. That's in case an observer decides to come for a little adventure. Come for a little scout of what could be going on. So, still just keeping an eye on what is going on here, what is on the mark. For the moment, things are looking pretty damn close. Okay, it's not actually that close. It's quite an advantage for DieStar. He's up by like 9 workers. But JackO is leveling it out. He's got the 3rd base secured. Unfortunately for him, DieStar is moving forward. He's got a lot of Vikings. 10 Vikings up against 5 Colossus. So the Colossus count is substantial. But is it enough? Probably not. DieStar, as long as he gets a good position, which he really will over here, if he can position his Vikings in this vicinity to engage up against the Colossus, they've got problems because the Stalkers aren't going to be able to pick them off anytime soon. Still, the Vikings moving on through. Are they going to get into that beautiful, beautiful spot? They've got a scan. They may not even care. They're just going for it. They're just like, hey, I want to kill some Colossi. In they come. The infantry getting a good concave against this, but a couple of Stalkers from behind will get a decent amount of damage out. The Colossus count is dropping quickly. The Mothership Core is dead. Force Field's coming through, and DieStar taking quite considerable losses, but a lot more going down for JackO. The last Colossus just able to stay alive, although be it with a fraction of its health remaining, just 23. And wave number 2 already ready now for DieStar, moving forward, preparing to get that next bit of damage done. JackO knows that he's got to be careful. His 3-3 is not yet finished. 2-2 is about to kick in for DieStar. So again, we're in that similar position to game number 1, where both players are 2-2. And while 3-3 is substantially ahead for JackO, it's not ahead enough because it's not finished yet. But DieStar, if he doesn't engage soon, sort of in the next 50 seconds, then the 3-3 will be finished. And that is a big upgrade lead. A couple of cannons getting taken down here. This is forcing JackO to pull back a lot of his army, exposing his 3rd base. Pulling back the entire army to deal with this double drop is a dangerous move. He needs to split his forces appropriately because otherwise DieStar can just come in and snipe off this 3rd. Couple of Stalkers, couple of Sentries getting taken down. The Vikings engaging up upon that Colossus. They're going to win that fight easy. The infantry, though, losing out to those Zealots. There's a lot of them, but the Colossus taking substantial hits. 3-3 does now kick in for the Protoss player, so he's got an upgrade lead and an upgrade window of about 190 seconds. DieStar, though, he's got his 4th base up, but he was not able to take out the 3rd of JackO like he did in game number 1 that caused all the problems. DieStar, though, I don't think he's going to be happy with that quite yet because he's moving across the map with what is a lot of units, or preparing to move across. I thought that was an SCV pull then, and then I remembered there's a 4th base. So don't panic, guys. It's not a big choo-choo train coming in quite yet. Nice little move through here. Couple of dropships going to be sneaking their way into the natural base. But of course, 3 Stalkers and a handful of Zealots there, ready to greet them. Still, more infantry edging on closer. Nice little pylon placement here by JackO. He can go and look to counter-attack. Of course, DieStar, he's got a substantially large army, although it manages to completely miss these Zealots coming in. DieStar has realized this now, though, pulling his units, his entire army back to deal with this, but a couple of SCVs will die nonetheless. 4 SCVs. 2 SCVs, though, for 2 Zealots. Not the best trade in the world, especially when your opponent's well ahead in terms of that worker count. Now, JackO, looking to try and secure up a 4th base, is alerted, or does alert DieStar thanks to the Marine in a beautiful position there. So with the Marine coming on through, he knows that, hey, okay, a 4th's coming through. This is potentially, again, a great opportunity to engage. He's got Ghosts coming out 5 at a time. They're going to be very important due to the EMPs to shut down the shield energy of his opponent. Specifically, these Archons are going to really feel the blunt of that. But what's really curious is that despite there being a Templar Archives done, we have no sign of Storm yet. And again, that's another thing that is very important late game up against Terran. You need those Storms, you need those Colossi, you need the splash damage against the infantry to consistently trade. Few Zealots, trying to be awkward, but DieStar says no, or rather his Planetary Fortress does, just smiling there with its 2 massive cannons, blasting the Zealots to death. DieStar backing away, doesn't want to take a awkward engagement, going to be forced to take a little bit of a beating here. A couple of EMPs are coming through. The Colossus taking substantial damage from the Vikings, but the Stalkers and Archons doing a good job of clearing those out. DieStar pulling back, retreating to safety. 2 Colossus remain, but they're not involved in the fight at the moment. JackO splits his army up. DieStar is able to hold it for the moment, deals out some good damage, and picks off quite a few units. In total, he's killed 8 Colossus this game so far. Picks off a couple more Zealots as well that were harassing. JackO, though, 9 workers killed. He needs to really raise that number up if he wants to. He's still 10 workers behind, not including the mules. and there's 2 additional command centers soon to finish up for DieStar. Waiting to see what DieStar is going to do. He's still pumping out more Vikings. That's important. His ghost count is currently at 11, so that's a pretty substantial ghost count right there. Still no sign of Storm, and I really would like to see that coming down from JackO. Storm is vitally important at this stage. He needs to make sure that he's able to start storming through as well as using those Colossi. He's 100% reliant on the Colossus for the splash damage, and that is so dangerous. So dangerous, it's insane. The Vikings moving forward. A lot of the ghosts edging on through as well. The scan did see the army movement. Are there going to be any EMPs coming through? There they are. The Colossi taking a lot of damage to the Vikings. The Stalkers trying to trade against them. The Zealot front line has been taken out, but still 2 Colossus remain. They're getting out a lot of damage. The Vikings trying to pick that through. DieStar edging on forward. He is going to be able to take down those Colossi. That is the last army of JackO, who GG's out, and DieStar is able to take the game and take the series 2-0.